from CTV Admin asks, what's the difference between modernism, anti-modernism, postmodernism, and contemporary art? Modernism deals with artworks produced roughly from 1860s to the 1970s. It's characterized by throwing out of the old, embracing the new. There's more experimentation, new ways of seeing, new ideas about how art functions. Historically, it could be tied to the Industrial Revolution, where there was rapid changes in manufacturing, transportation, technology, which influenced the social, economic, and cultural conditions of Western Europe and North America. People were moving out to urban spaces, traveling, and having new worldviews and access to new ideas. The invention of photography also sent painting into an identity crisis. With this new technology that can perfectly replicate scenes, what can painting do that photography can't? No more frou-frou mythological or religious scenes for wealthy patrons. Modern art was about the people, places, and ideas that the artist had direct contact with. Along with the publication of Sigmund Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams in 1899, artists became more interested in dreams, symbolism, and iconography as ways to depict subjective experiences. Anti-modernism or countermodernism refers to a number of parallel movements that spread throughout Europe following the end of World War I. Given the collective name of Repel l'Ordre, meaning return to order, they rejected the extreme avant-garde art and took notes from traditional art instead. In particular, Futurism was brought into focus. They were a group of anti-traditionalists who celebrated technology to the point of praising machinery and violence and power, and condemned the culture of the past in defiance of history and tradition. However, there was a break when Futurist followers broke off from the pact. In particular, Severini and Carta became followers of Giorgio de Chirico. Picasso and Braque abandoned Cubism. Picasso produced work in a neoclassical style that recalled work of Raphael and Angres. This trend was evident in many artists working in the 1920s, including Duran, Messenger, artists of the New Objectivity, and the Novecento Italiano movement. Postmodern art is a body of art movements around 1960s. The idea of what is considered art is expanded to mixed media, installation, conceptual art, and video art. We begin to see collage, simplification, appropriation, performance art. The distinction between high and low art and popular culture is blurred. There's a sense of immediacy and the present that you don't see in modern art. Perhaps it's easiest to see in pop art of Andy Warhol and Roy Lichtenstein. Now is the hardest part of this video, which is defining what contemporary art is. Contemporary art is basically art since modernism, but then you have the problem of, well, when did modernism end? Some may define it as art made within our lifetime, but lifetime is variable, so that's not very useful. And some would also say that contemporary art is a larger umbrella that postmodernism fits under. The first use of the term contemporary art can be traced to 1910 by the critic Roger Fry for the Contemporary Art Society in London. As modern art became more of a historical art movement, modern ceased to mean contemporary art, and they needed a new term to talk about art made in the present. There isn't a clear cut from one to another, and many institutions actually use the term modern and contemporary art to avoid the distinction altogether. In the end, not everyone's going to agree, and people are constantly proposing and refining ideas. In the meantime, I hope you learned something new. Thanks again to Peter for asking this question. If you don't know who he is, I'll go ahead and link his channel down below. He's also doing this fantastic project called Go Verb and Noun. It's just awesome interviews with all these creators making educational content on YouTube. So if you're interested in that, definitely check that out. If you haven't watched last week's video, it's about the creepy and fascinating history of mummy brown paint. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.